We already know, based on how this show is going, Scarlet Witch is coming back. I don't need anybody to touch Wanda, Billy, Agatha, or any of these characters introduced in this world other than Jack Schaefer. But with that said, Jack Schaefer, you need to meet me outside because we need to fight, because also you need to pay my therapy bill, because how am I supposed to function the rest of this week after the ending of this episode? And welcome to my Safe Gayven, everybody. Thank you guys so much for clicking on another video and joining me here on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. Let me put my Wiccan in front of the camera so you can see him. But if this is your first time checking out one of my videos, thank you so much. Let me introduce myself. My name is Michael. I call myself the Black Gay Comic Geek. And I always say the things I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the force. I like to talk about fantasy, superheroes, comic books, action movies, horror movies, etc. And of course, I like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you're interested in, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Guys, it took a couple of years. There's been slow but steady progress, but I am finally able to do it. Since I joined YouTube in 2019, I've been waiting for this moment, but I can go, guys. It's finally here.
It's over 9,000! 9,000?! There's no way that can be right! It can't!
Believe it, guys. We are finally at the over 9,000 point. Now let's just get to 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, 13,000. You can help me do that by, again, hitting that like button. Even if you're subscribed, if you hit that like button, it gets this video out there. It gets my channel out there so more eyes can see the channel, more eyes can subscribe, so I can continue to grow this Black Gay Comic Geek train. Now, with that said, guys, we are here to talk spoilers. For now, after 7 episodes, I can definitively say that Agatha All Along is my favorite out of all the MCU shows. Granted, I don't know how it's going to end. The ending can still disappoint me, but so far, 7 episodes in, I've virtually loved every single episode. There's been some moments and parts of episodes where I'm just like, I could have did without, but overall, this show has been great. I haven't been this excited about a show really since Interview with the Vampire. And granted, it's not as great as Interview with the Vampire, but I'm loving this show. So let's get into episode 7. Spoilers, Death's Hand in Mind. I'm gonna just come out and say it. Jack Schaefer and everybody else behind the scenes of making this episode, and this episode in and of itself, need to be nominated for an Emmy. Patti LuPone needs to be nominated for an Emmy. This episode was great. I really enjoyed this episode, and I also loved how confusing and disorienting this episode was with all the jump cuts of all the different timelines of Patti LuPone, because we're supposed to experience this episode kind of like how Lilia experiences life. And it's almost kind of sad when you think about, and it makes sense, and you got to think about like how smart the writing is in the planning of this episode, where all the callbacks from all the previous episode all culminating and coming into a finality with this episode, and all the things that she said. Even in episode 6, when she was talking to Billy and she said the towel reverse, I thought that was her referencing him and the fact that his life was about to come to an end. And she mentioned the 2 different lifelines that he had. No, the towel reverse was her seeing the future and what she needed to know for this episode. Like, it's just such smart writing. And yeah, this episode was just incredible. But like, going back to what I was saying is like how tragic and crazy is her life is, where in almost a like Dr. Manhattan type of way, she's experiencing her entire life all at the same time. So imagine going through like one of the most tragic moments of your life, with her experiencing the death of her family and the coven from a fever, and you're not really able, you know how they say when you lose like a loved one, it never gets better, but with time it gets easier. She can never go through that because she's going through the death of her family at every single moment vividly, because she's constantly reliving it at all moments of the day, at all the time, like literally like going back to her childhood. And it's just like, how do you How do you get through life? You know how they say live in every moment? She can't live in every moment, or live in the moment. She can't live in the moment because she's living every moment. But speaking of living, I will live and get my life. Because there was that moment in this episode, and I saw somebody said that they need to put it on a shirt. And granted, I'm not a lady, but I'm like, I want that on a shirt too, because I want it when Billy, I keep wanting to call him Teen, but we know his name now. But Billy William, when he was talking to Agatha and he was asking about Wanda and she wasn't giving a straight answer, and she said, if you want straight answers, ask a straight lady. I said, yes, yes. Yes, make it gayer. Make it gayer. So with that said, I know next week is the finale. We're getting episodes 8 and 9 in a two-parter. Hopefully each episode is like an hour. Hopefully it's like a 2-hour night. But because I'm pretty sure the episode is going to end on a battle between Rio, Teen, and Agatha. But like, before they have the giant battle at the end, because at the end of the day, it's still a Marvel show. Marvel always likes to have a giant CGI battle, so it's probably going to be a CGI witch battle by the end. But before they have that battle, I need Agatha and Rio to finally kiss, so we can have a male-on-male kiss in one show and a woman-on-woman kiss, both in the same show. But not only do I need them to kiss, after they kiss, I need them to scissor each other. Like, come on. I need it to happen. I will get my life if Rio and Agatha scissor each other. It is something that I need, because like I said, my motto is always make it black or make it gay. We're not going to get the blacker. I mean, we got Jen, so that's somewhat black, but let's make it gayer. And yeah, it's Disney Plus, but who cares? Daredevil is coming to Disney Plus, and we know that's going to be rated MA, and we already saw Catherine Hahn's ass in one episode, so let's scissor. Granted, it doesn't have to be like True Blood explicit, but let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Make it gayer, make it gayer, make it gayer. But with that said, I am a little disappointed, and this is more on me. And no, not even on me. I'm not even gonna blame myself. I'm gonna blame Funko for allowing that leak to happen, because I saw the leak that Rio and Billy, who they actually were, that he was Wiccan and she was Death. And so because I saw that leak around episode 2, the reveal that she's actually Death, I was just I was whelmed. I was not even underwhelmed. I was just whelmed, because it was just yeah, I knew this already. But imagine how shocked I would be. And I wish I could trade places with some people that don't live on the internet, that didn't know this reveal, that were able to avoid all spoilers to find out that she's actually Death. Now granted, they did heavily tease at it, and if you're a person that is good as in predicting things, you would know that she was Death. And when she would mention I want my bodies, or there were other things that she mentioned I can't think of off the top of my head that made it pretty obvious that she was Death. But even still, I'm had I not seen the Funko, I wonder if I would have picked up on some of those cues. But with that said, guys, we have the official confirmation of Mistress Death being in the MCU. But how much Riz, as the kids would say, does Agatha Harkness gotta have to pull Death? Essentially. But I will say the thing about this episode, even though I really like this episode, I heard a lot of people say, including Joe Locke, who plays Billy Maximoff, he mentioned that this was his favorite episode. As somebody that worked on behind the scenes said that this was their favorite episode. I don't think this is my favorite episode. I think episode 6, the flashback episode where we learn about Billy, that's my favorite episode. But this would probably be my second favorite episode. But even despite that, I gotta complain for a little bit, because why was this episode only 37 minutes? And then when you add the fact that there's 7 minutes of credits, this episode was really only 30 minutes. This basically was a half-hour episode. This episode was just as long as Justice League Unlimited. And I don't understand why they keep giving us these 30-minute episodes. Say what you will about the Penguin, and I really enjoyed the Penguin, and I get that these two shows are very different, and not to compare them, but at least with Penguin, every episode is damn near an hour. Every single episode. Whereas with this show, we got this episode was only 37 minutes. What was it? Episode 4 was 30 minutes. And it's just give us an hour or 40 minutes or 50 minutes. Last week's episode was 50 minutes. Why can't we get that with every single episode? Because one of my favorite moments in I think it was maybe episode 4. I don't remember, but the episode where they were once we got to the end of the episode and they were talking and communing around the campfire and getting to know each other. Those are the character moments that I live for. And that's what gets you to be more connected to these characters, especially considering you only have 9 episodes. episodes. And with that, being that we only have 9 episodes, there is still a lot that we have to get through, and we only have 2 episodes left. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but at the end of the episode where Lilia had her heroic moment where she was able to take out the Salem 7, it was only 5 of the Salem 7. So there's still 2 more members of the Salem 7 still alive. So we got to deal with them. We still have to deal with Rio and her fighting Agatha and confronting Agatha at the end of the Witch's Road. We still got to deal with Agatha's potential wish at the end of the Witch's Road. We still got to deal with Teen. And is he Billy? Is he William? Is he both? Him finding his twin brother Tommy. We still got to deal with that. And then also, more than likely, he has to go back home and confront his parents. And because I'm pretty sure they're looking for him, because how long has he been gone? We probably got to still see more of Boyf and all this other resolution that has to happen by the end of the episode. And then also, like, granted, I don't necessarily think we're gonna get Billy, but I was thinking about this after the end of last week's episode, because we know from the comics that both Billy and Tommy were reincarnated into different kids, and unlike the they didn't go into new bodies. They were just reborn, and they just got different names. They kept the same first name, Billy and Tommy, but they just got Billy Kaplan. He was born into the Kaplans, and then Tommy Shepard was born into the Shepards. But for the sake of the show, I'm like, how convenient would it be, considering that Billy Maximoff just happened to be born in another person's body who's also named Billy William. It's just William Kaplan, that happened to die at the moment that the hex ended. But I'm like, how convenient is it going to be that Tommy ends up going into a body of a teenager that happened to also die at the same time of the hex, who also happened to have a name of Thomas. I'm like, granted, it's a comic book movie. You got to let it go. But I'm still just like, that's going to be very convenient if we find out he has the same exact origin. But now he's born into the Shepards, which is why his name is Tommy Shepard. But I hope when we actually do get Tommy in the MCU, they don't straight wash him, because little known fact, well, I guess it's not little known anymore, or maybe depending on how much you keep up with comics, but Tommy is not straight. Tommy is bisexual. Tommy is also queer. Wanda and Vision cannot have heterosexual kids. And I'm here for it, because Vision also created a daughter that is an android named Vision, and Viv is also a lesbian. So once we get Tommy in the MCU, don't straight wash him. Thank you. This has been your TED Talk from Black Gay Comic Geek. But also one thing I do want to say, like, it does kind of feel, the fact that Lilia took out at least 5 of the Salem 7, it does feel a little anticlimactic that most of them were taken out already. Now, granted, from a character standpoint, it was great to see Lilia finally come into her power, be able to control her power, say that she loved being a witch, and be able to protect her sisterhood and her coven like that. But it still felt like the Salem 7 was unnecessary. Like, the Witch's Road was enough of an antagonist, so to speak. Like, what was the point of the Salem 7? We didn't really learn much about them. We didn't really see much about them, only for them to die in this unceremonious, anticlimactic way. But despite having my criticisms, like I said, this episode was great. It's my second favorite episode so far. This show in general is definitely for the theater gays, which I am a theater gay. I have my degree in theater performance. Even just in the costume, even in this episode with Billy being Maleficent, and Agatha being the Wicked Witch of the West, and Lilia being Glinda the Good, and Jen being the form of the evil queen from Snow White. Like, the dressing up and the pageantry and everything like that. Like, and then the line of, you know, if you want straight answers, ask a straight woman, and the tension and romance between Agatha and Rio, Billy and Eddie. Like, I just love this show. The song, Down the Witch's Road, like, everything about this show is just hitting. And then also, they're very, very heavily teasing the fact, like I mentioned in the intro, that Scarlet Witch is coming back. Like, when Agatha was like, is she dead? Yeah, no, maybe. Wanda's coming back. It's just a matter of time when. But like I said before, I don't want anybody touching Wanda or doing the Wanda solo movie but Jack Schaefer. Give it to Jack Schaefer. Keep Michael Waldron, who wrote Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, keep him as far away from Wanda as possible. I don't want him even looking at the set photos of the Scarlet Witch movie. And last thing that I did think of, and this is also why I wish this episode was a little bit longer, but I am kind of gonna say, and hopefully because we didn't see a body at the end. So maybe she's not dead, or it turns out, especially being that Rio was dead, she can bring anybody back. Hopefully this isn't the end of Lilia, but I was hoping for and expecting a little bit more after we got the reveal in last week's episode that it was Lilia that put the sigil on Billy. I was hoping we would have got more of an explanation, or they would have gave us a better explanation of why she put the sigil on him, other than, I thought you needed more time. I was hoping she would have saw something, or I don't know. I was just expecting a little bit more of that. Because then also, granted, you know, her memory is like all over the place. She didn't even really remember at first. Granted, she was like, I remember you now, but there was no, this is the reason I put the sigil on you. This is what I saw. Like, that's what I was hoping for. But yeah, I can't wait for the finale. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself on Wednesdays after this show is over. I definitely feel like episode 8, we're going to see the merging of both Billy Kaplan, or Billy Maximoff, and William Kaplan. He's going to be both, because he did ask that question in this episode, am I Billy or am I William? He's going to end up being both by the end of this series. I don't think we're going to get Tommy, but it's definitely going to tease that he's coming. But with that, can't wait for the next episode. But what did you guys think about episode 7 of Agatha All Along? Where does this episode rank in terms of your favorite episodes? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you also want Rio and Agatha to scissor just like I do? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. If this is one of your first time checking out one of my videos, hopefully check out the other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, interact, and watch for the All Gay Rhythm. Hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. Tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.